After the guy was dead and the smell of his burning flesh was off the air, we all went back down to the beach. Hello and welcome to another of our Stephen King deep videos. Now this one's not going to be that deep because the story isn't that long, but that was the opening line to the short story Night Surf. Now Night Surf first appeared in Ubris magazine in spring of 1969, and then it appeared in Cavalier magazine in August 1974, and then it appeared in this one, Night Shift, in 1978. And it is what most people consider, myself included, a precursor small novel to what would later become The Stand. For reasons you'll see. Now, some of King's earlier stories you can tell were precursors to what would come in the bigger books later down the line. But Night Surf, it is a very short story in Night Shift. It's not my favourite, but it's not the worst. I reserve that for another one. Now, in Night Surf, we are in the mind of Bernie. He is one of a group of 6 characters. And Bernie is, to all intents and purposes, a dick. A college student dick. He's terribly misogynistic, he's incredibly fatphobic, and he's not the sort of guy you would want to hang around with even if you weren't in an apocalyptic situation. And to be quite honest, I'd have probably done away with him because, God, is he a pain in the ass. Now this follows a group of 6 friends. So we've got Bernie, Susie, who is his girlfriend, but he is so horrible to her, I don't even know why she sticks around him. Probably because there's an apocalypse and there's absolutely no one else to talk to. But he is terrible to her. And then there is Kelly and Joan. You don't really hear much from them. They sort of keep to their own thing. Needles, who does his own thing as well, and Corey, who hangs around with Bernie. They're quite good friends. But he's a POS too. But just not on the same level that Bernie is, because we're not in his point of view. And this group of sort of friends find themselves on Anson Beach in New Hampshire. We open with them sacrificing a guy that they find ill in a car. They tie him to, you know, those telescopes that you can have at the beach that you can look out to sea. They end up tying him to one of them and burning him alive. All the while they stand around and watch him scream. Now, a bit of the backstory on this. If you've read The Stand, you'll know more or less what I'm going to be talking about. A super fluke called A6 and Captain Trips. And Captain Trips came out of Southeast Asia and wiped out the whole of humanity. Which definitely morphs into being in The Stand. That's the whole plot. And this has wiped out every human on the planet. There is nobody about. There is just this group of 6. They don't know if anybody else is alive. But they find this guy behind the wheel of his car, and he is raving. And they can tell this guy is sick because his throat is swelled up. It's like a tire. It's black. His skin's going black. It's just, ugh. And he is raving. And it's Corey that says, "Oh well, we should sacrifice him to the gods." You know, in all like mythology, that's how they got rid of this plagues and pestilence. And it starts off as sort of like a joke, and then they start talking about it, and it becomes not a joke, it becomes rather serious, and they end up tying him to this telescope thing and burning him. There's no real feeling about doing this. There's no like guilt or even deep thought processing trying to process burning somebody alive. There's none of that. Which brings us to, we're still in the thought process of Bernie, and his thought process throughout all of this, even sacrificing someone, wandering on the beach, being awful to Susie, missing his old life, is just his thought process and him coming to terms with the fact that life is now aimless. There is nothing to do. There's nothing to aim for. There's no work to do. You don't need to earn money because you can just go into stores and pick stuff up. There is literally nothing to do with your day except be horrible to each other. And it just goes through that there's nothing to do, there's no direction, there's nothing to do except hope to survive and listen to the night surf crashing against the shore. That's all they do. It's kind of a sort of what I would call a snapshot story. So it's like you're just getting a tiny little picture of what could be something bigger, and it does eventually turn into something bigger. And for me, this story, it just gets 3 stars. It is straight down the middle. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just straight middle of the line. Kinda boring, but I like what it leads into. Now, I've seen a few reviews of this story that, well, more than a few, to be honest, that say that it feels uncompleted, and especially the earlier short stories of Stephen King, they do feel uncompleted. And I think this one feels uncompleted because it does eventually morph into The Stand. Like, Night Surf is... how many pages is it? Yeah, Night Surf is like 6 pages, and that morphs into this thing, which is most decidedly not 6 pages. It's a beast. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this Stephen King extremely short story, and if you would like to see me cover any of the other ones. I will be going through the whole lot eventually, and hopefully go through the timeline of publication. But I thought I would start with the little ones. And to finish, I'm just going to end it with the quote that seems very apt in recent years. So here we were, with the whole human race wiped out. Not by atomic weapons, or bio-warfare, or pollution, or anything grand like that. Just the flu.